Hello everyone, my name is Amna Mansoor. I am a student of Masters of Architecture in Istanbul Okan University. I've done my Bachelor's of Architecture from Comsats University, Islamabad, Lahore campus in Pakistan. My project for this semester is Eco Settlements. As an introduction, to introduce what the concept of the project is about, increased greenhouse gas emissions, global warming, ozone layer depletion, climate change, and ecosystem degradation are all consequences of irresponsible natural resource exploitation on a global and regional scale. Construction activities play a key influence in the emergence of these issues, and as a result, it is critical that the structures have long-term sustainable qualities that lessen the environmental impacts during their full life cycle. What is an ecological settlement? Ecological settlements are communities in which someone lives fully conscious with facilities such as nourishment, housing, jobs, education, and health. It is a traditional or intentional community that strives to be more socially, culturally, economically, or environmentally sustainable. All the people, all the users have a holistic approach to basic critical issues such as social interaction and various actions that are viewed as addressing people's basic needs. Um, have many detrimental repercussions on the universe, ranging from microscaling to macroscaling. The future threatens the acceptable values of a balanced ecosystem. The foundation of the original framework is anthropology and psychology research. An eco-settlement is a human-scale full-featured settlement where human activities can coexist with natural world in a healthy way. Human-scale communities should be designed in addition to all of these new sustainable urbanization concepts to generate habitable environments on a smaller scale. Buildings and street-directed designs, where adequate comfort conditions are supplied within structures, urban access areas are merged, healthy building designs are established, materials can be reused, and green building standards are applied. An eco-settlement has three main components: participatory processes at the local level, systems that are designed to focus on long-term sustainability, reusing and restoring natural and social settings. In essence, these communities are planned, communal, and long-term. They may include community gardens, off-the-grid energy bartering systems, and homeschooling. Um, the ultimate goal is to make zero waste, environmentally conscious living more accessible. To talk about the evolution of these settlements, the evolution of settlement placement and distribution is an unavoidable result of economic development and urban-rural integration, which is constrained by variables impacting economic development. But it is also a significant factor affecting and restraining economic development. In geography, statistics, and archaeology, a settlement, locality, or populated place is a community in which people live. The complexity of a settlement can range from a small number of dwellings grouped together to the largest of cities with surrounding urbanized areas. Settlements may include hamlets, villages, towns, and cities. A settlement may have known historical properties such as the date or era in which it was first settled or first settled by particular people. The shape or morphology of a settlement is studied in landscape history, such as whether they are distributed or nucleated. As a result, urban morphology can be thought of as a subset of cultural historical landscape studies. As you can see in the diagram, there are different kinds of morphologies of settlements. It can be nucleated, it can be linear, or it can be dispersed. To talk about the origin and development of settlements, most anthropologists believe that humans first appeared in the Great Rift Valley of East Africa thousands of years ago. From there, they spread to the Middle East, Asia, Europe, America, and Oceania. Neolithic revolution or agricultural revolution occurred in Mesopotamia. The people went from hunter-gatherers and nomads to domesticators. The population grew relatively quickly. The emergence of urban population occurred also in some areas. Agriculture became especially successful largely in the river valleys of Nile, Ganges, and Yangtze Kyang. An early settlement that can be used as an example is the Harappa settlement on the Indus River Valley. These areas had fertile soil from annual flooding, which led to the abundant harvest. First cities arose in these areas, and people were able to grow surplus food to feed on a non farming urban population, thereby leading to specialization among the population. The priests, scribes, architects, farmers, soldiers, traders, blacksmiths, etc., were some people ventured in these areas. So, to talk about sustainability and how it can be integrated with the concept of ecological settlements, the term sustainable has taken on a new meaning. In fact, in addition to the environment, a wide range of industries such as business, sustainability, tourism, public finances, and finance have all become sustainable concerns. Um, on occasion of the Bertland Report, titled Our Common Future, it was prepared by the UN World Environment and Development Commission in 1987. The concept of sustainability first entered our daily language in the form of sustainable development in relation to the development, and it became very popular in the following years. The notion of sustainability is examined along the axis of sustainable development, where sustainable development is defined as development that meets today's demands without harming future generations' prospects. Site selection is one of two fundamental considerations in the realm of sustainable urban planning and urban impact, the other being density. Building population densities should not exceed nature's carrying capacity, and site selection decisions should not be made on natural regions that are not suited for construction owing to their nature. It is important to remember that urbanization, which has a long history in human history, and the solutions to the issues it causes will come from the union of conscious people and a determined administration. The major purpose of the institutions or groups that will handle the challenges um, should be to maintain this unity. As we fast forward to the current century, the ecological settlement models and planning approaches that emerged since the 1990s are as follows. There was the new urbanization movement. It was a compact city movement, ecological cities, smart growth, slow cities, eco villages, and smart cities. New urbanism. The goal of the new urbanism movement, it began in the 1980s, in the late 1980s in the United States. It is a movement that was started to make cities more accessible, compact, and habitable. The new urbanism movement can be the cities that were designed on this concept was that they can be walked with access that provide easy connections between each other. They have they are a mixed use development and diversity, public space, excessive public spaces, open spaces, and parks where social interaction is provided, diversity rather than a single type of residence, and quality architecture and urban design, traditional settlement structures, and it is shaped around the main elements such as sustainability, smart transportation, and quality of life. In this case, factors such as access to social facilities in different city centers are easier. Bicycle and pedestrian transportation are common, and rather than settling in untouched lands, the selection of land close to urban settlements in order to protect these areas reduces the natural environmental impacts. As a result, city growth rates are controlled, and all planning and investments are done in accordance with this concept. So there are certain planning and design principles. There are environmental principles, social, and then economic. Environmental friendly placement should be kept in mind. Production of energy from renewable sources, efficient use of water, compact form in layout, mixed use of lands, spring accessible settlement, defined region borders and settlements. There are social principles that are as places designed on a human scale and specific architectural design. And then there are economic ones that are various typologies in the residences and release reuse. So these were some principles of the new urbanism movement. There are certain reasons why new ecological settlements may be created. The need for better opportunities. For example, we know that in the early times, nomad tribes traveled long ago in pursuit of new pastures for their animals, as well as new hunting and fishing grounds. Following that, people began to travel in quest of more fruitful grounds and to establish new communities. Today, migration occurs all over the world. Then there are population or overcrowdedness, that may be a reason of creating a new settlement or people moving to a new settlement. It is quite a self-explanatory phenomena. The places where there are too many users become unsuitable for families and it may become too congested and unhealthy to live there without many opportunities available to them. People choose to move to a new settlement. Idealism and philosophical approaches are another reason that cause a new settlement to be thought or developed. Seeking a greater level of living by relocating to another country, not just in terms of money, but also in terms of cleaner, healthier, and higher quality of life. Another popular reason for residents choosing to live in their neighborhood is the cost of housing. Then there are global disasters that may also cause a new settlement to develop, like floods, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and so on. And we have seen many of these occur throughout history, and their impact on nature is insignificant in comparison to the abuses committed by people in the process that begins with industrialization and the utilization of natural resources. So, while nature may in some ways control catastrophes that occur within itself, nature cannot regenerate itself because disasters caused by mankind produce an artificial set of conditions and even face calamities that humanity cannot easily overcome, such as ozone layer depletion and global warming. The earliest settlements, Jericho, the world's oldest city, is now located in the West Bank region of the Middle East. It is located in um, Palestine. The city's location and long-term survival are outstanding examples of the environment's impact on human history. The same physical and biological conditions that led to the greatest major transformation in human history, the appearance of agriculture, also led to the creation of Jericho. Between 1100 and 11,000 and 10,000 years ago, new farming like ways and technology began to emerge. Humans began to breed more rapidly since farming provided them with more food and energy. As a result, they began to live in larger communities such as villages, towns, and finally cities. We have witnessed in history the temperature shift that occurred in the end of the last ice age. It is the most important factor in explaining the transition to agriculture and the rise of major towns. Recent eco-settlements, there is Crystal Waters in Australia, a socially and environmentally responsible, economically viable rural subdivision north of Brisbane, Australia. Crystal Waters was designed by Max Lindiger, um, and it was established in 1987. It is located on a quite contoured land, and there are certain characteristics that make it an ecological settlement. There are wastewater systems, compost toilets, wet compost for food forests and worm farms, experimental gardens, PV and hot water solar systems, observing community meetings. Everything from the building to the water supplies is based on sustainable land use um, principles. These also include solar energy and composting toilets. The residential area only occupies 20% of the land, and the rest is used for regeneration of wildlife, bamboo farms, organic agriculture, and natural playgrounds. Um, to, to have a comparison of what kind of characteristics and properties ecological settlements around the world have, there are 7 projects that I've compared. There is Lunar City, that is located on the moon. It was a proposal from SOM in 2000. It was a proposal from SOM Architects in 2019. There is the Solar City Linz in Austria. There is project the Ecological Community in Denmark in 1989. Project 4 is Bedzet Sutton in United Kingdom. Martian SOL, Seed of Life. SOL stands for Seed of Life. It is a proposal that was also given in 2019 by Warid Zaki and Amir Amzer for a project. There is Masdar City in Abu Dhabi, which was by Norman Foster Company in 2016, and Vatican in Ankara, Turkey. It was a 1974 proposal. I've categorized them according to the principle that they're built on: waste management, wastewater management, and renewable energy, farming, rainwater collection, and transport. So the way these settlements manage their waste is through anaerobic composting. Wastewater in Linz, in the Solar City, is drained separately, and there is a sandbed filter for grey water. The urine is separated and collected for potential irrigation. In the ecological community in Denmark, the waste management is a shared task that the community does together. In Bedzad, the waste is collected and recycled. They recycle 60% of their waste, and bioregionals offices only send 13% of their waste to the landfill. The Mars proposal is a competition project, and it does not have a lot of details on waste management because it is focused more on the design aspect of it. Then Masdar City in Abu Dhabi, there is zero waste planning by using biological waste to create nutrient-rich soil and fertilizers. Industrial waste is recycled. And then in Batikent, Ankara, compost toilets for recycling waste. Wastewater is managed in Solar City through drainage and sanitation and overall planning, and then sandbed filters are used. Water is kept between 60 to 65%. Wastewater is kept between 60 to 65% of tonnage average in the ecological community in Denmark. In Bedzad, the dual flush toilets are used, aerated flow taps and shower heads and water efficient washing machines are used, and the average home uses almost 40% less water than average metered homes in Sudan. In Masdar City, treated sewage for immigration and recycling wastewater, desalination, water use and reuse system that acknowledge water as a precious resource. And then in Vatican, grey water cycle is constructed throughout the building. So the site selection criteria is to access social facilities, different city centers, bicycle and pedestrian transportation. Rather than settling in untouched lands, the selection of lands close to the urban settlements to protect and reduce the natural environmental impact. This last criteria points towards brownfields in cities that need reviving and can be rethought for the betterment of the city. To explain what brownfields are, due to an economic flux along with expansion of city associated with changes of city structure and morphology, there are many brownfield sites formed. Its terminology varies from one country to another based on their policies and strategies. However, brownfield redevelopment is becoming a major planning issue, and its environmental, social, economic, and spatial dimensions all around the world. In this context, brownfields left over from industrialization provide an opportunity to address sustainable developments through urban planning approaches. Turkey has relatively a short history of industrialization, thus brownfields are a new phenomenon which started to occur in the middle of 1980s. For example, underutilized or vacant land that may or may not have real or perceived contamination. Brownfields can also be termed as a synonym of previously developed land and may not have to be abandoned but usually affected by its previous use. Brownfield sites are also used to contain large number of unused facilities as well as low quality buildings and utilities which needed to be reused effectively through a comprehensive intervention process. It must be noted that the main objective of a brownfield redevelopment is not reuse or reintegration of land. It aims to supply a combination of social, environmental, and economic benefits through sustainable development perspectives. There are certain examples of the kinds of properties that these are. They may be closed factories, former military bases, disused warehouse, closed petrol stations, or discarded railways. It is possible to designate additional objectives related with the countries and cities, economic and environmental priorities, such as you may want to redevelop or reuse a brownfield for the job creation or quality of life improvement or to reduce urban sprawl. Although brownfields appeared as the results of urban sprawl and deindustrialization in developed countries, in Turkey most of the brownfield areas have become sites which need urgent solutions after the implementation of privatization policies. Turkey has been faced with migration from rural to urban areas since 1950s. In this respect, brownfield sites provide an alternative land use supply and thus a more sustainable way to preserve land resources. We should select a brownfield rather than an untouched piece of land as site, as that would give the project more meaning and depth because brownfields have a certain value associated to it. There are Brownfields can be considered as a cultural landscape because it has historic value, social value, psychological value, technological value, ecological, spatial, environmental, and economic values. So the site that I've selected, it is a brick and tile factory in Beykoz. The initial name was Pasha Bahçe Çakurçayır brick and tile factory, and it is located in Beykoz. The construction year was 25th September 1910, but it is scheduled to be demolished and planned as a residential area. It is currently empty. So this is going to be my proposal for the residential area that is to be built upon this site. The site is located on the east of the Bosphorus River. It is a total area of 10 hectares. The programs that I'm proposing are a clinic, school, 25 to 50 compact homes, a commercial center, parking, parks, communal vertical vegetation gardens, waste management area, and rainwater collection system. Amenities that are already present at site are bus stops, Beykoz State Hospital that is 2 minutes by car, 4 minutes by bus, and 9 minutes by walking. There is Sultaniye Park present very close to the site. There are elementary and secondary schools that may be used by the users or the residents that will use my site. There is access to shopping, entertainment, green spaces, playgrounds, healthcare options, and commute. Um, the site is located, of course, in Turkey on the world map, and the population of Turkey is 84.34 million as updated in 2020. It is located on the Asian side of Turkey in Beykoz, next to the Bosphorus River. Within the 1 kilometer radius, there is the Beykoz State Hospital, pharmacies, Sultaniye Park, grocery stores, high schools, elementary schools, mosques, ATMs, and a botanical center. And within a 5 kilometer radius, there is the Turkish German University, there are museums, there are restaurants, Medipol University, shopping mall, Hindi Botanical Center, and a beach walking track. The access or the approaches towards the site are through bus stops and through a car or public transport. The three streets that connect onto the site are Ansar Street, Chakochaya Street, and Saif Molla Street. The distance from Sabiha Gökçen International Airport is through the major road, Istanbul Ring Road, and it can be accessed through the car in 34 minutes, and through the bus it takes 2 hours and 7 minutes. So the zoning of the site is as according to the diagram. There is an administrative zone, a residential zone, there is public zone, and there are green zones. There is the wind and sun direction diagram and a noise analysis. The section of the site displays that the site that is selected is on a flat land, and then after a significant distance it turns into contoured land that has a significant slope, but the site that I've selected currently has no significant slope to it. The site silhouette is marked as follows, and then the contoured land starts at a distance. There is the flora and fauna of the site. There are several deciduous trees and several colored trees that are present in the general area of Beykoz. And the animal life, marine life, there is average daily sunshine hours, average sea temperature, average rainfall of Istanbul, and high and low temperatures of Istanbul. The SWOT analysis of the site is as follows. The strengths that I concluded are that the site is water facing, it has an easy commute, it is in a well-developed area, and since it is near water, it will help in passive cooling during summers. The weaknesses of the site are that it is surrounded by public and commercial areas, so noise conditions might not be the most suitable. Opportunities, since it is near water, it will help passive cooling, and it may allow aquatic life breeding businesses. And the threats may be that the flooding of phosphorus. The building programs are listed as follows, and the total built area is 11,142.5 square meters, and the total is 14,485.25 square meters with circulation. The site itself is 15% built and 85% green areas, open areas, or unbuilt. So the way the site is planned and zoned is through the context lines. The context lines were extended into the site to make it more harmonious with the surrounding context, and that helped making zones. The lines were simplified to make curved lines and to make ease of movement. Then the zoning was allocated according to the contextual zones. There were green areas, the clinic, preschool, library, and outdoor gym were located on the north of the site, so that it is in harmony with the public zones on the north side or in the context. The settlement that I've designed is called the Resilient City or the Resilient Living. The community is designed keeping in mind ecological principles with the aim to have participatory processes at the local level and reusing and restoring natural and social settings. The site was selected based on the ideas that rather than settling in lands. The selection of lands close to the urban settlements should be done to protect and reduce the natural environmental impact. The end design is a close-knit community focused more on living spaces functioning on ecological principles, with no vehicular pollution within the site and use of bicycles or walkways with diverse natural context. The contours in the context are located at a sufficient distance from the site, such that the contours do not play a role in the design development of the community. At the end, the silhouette of the design model on the context is as follows. It is located on the east of the Bosphorus River and has views towards the water. The ecological settlement, this is the master plan for the settlement. The numbers mentioned are on the north side you see the outdoor gym. There is a cafe building and a library building on the north. Again, it is all the public zones are located on the north side to keep it in harmony with the public zone located in the context on the north side. There is a clinic located on the main major access road to the ecological community. There is a children's playground located right next to the preschool that is designed within the community, and there are two-story houses and one-story houses for the diversity of residential availability or residential homes. The rows at the back are two-story houses, and the row at the front is the one-story houses. So both of the houses have views towards the water. There are therapy gardens all around the site. There is a car park with solar panels on the south side, so it has most solar radiation or solar or sunlight access throughout the day. And there is a bus stop right at the major access of the site that is already present on site. Public zones of the design, like preschool, cafe, clinic, as I mentioned, are located at the north. Vegetation centered on north, east, and south side to create a buffer zone between the public zones that are located in these areas and the quiet zones of the site, which are the therapy gardens, residential units. Visitors from the main entrance provide views into the gardens. For example, this is the car entrance. It is the main entrance where you enter into the site, and it provides a visitor a view right into this community garden or a therapy garden, and it sort of amplifies the message or the idea behind the whole community is green spaces and ecology, um, and sustainability and inclusion of nature. This is the bus entrance. The bus does not have any access into the major parts of the community. It enters from this area, goes to the bus stop, and then leaves without interfering with the walkways or with the major parts of the site itself. This is the car entrance, which will lead to the car park at the south, which is equipped with solar panels and allows it to gather energy throughout the day and provide that back to the site during the night time, which is used to light up the walkways all around the site that are present. The pathway is filled with gravel that makes a certain sound when you walk through it and has a soothing effect on the mind. This is a section for the walkways that are filled with the gravel. There are water bodies that are rainwater pools at south and southeast to help cool the surrounding temperatures of therapy gardens during the summers. These are bicycle lanes that you can see, which are shaded through trees, so that there are bicycle lanes that are separate from the walking lanes, so that people do not get disturbed while cycling by the pedestrians. The ambulance for this is the plan for the clinic that is located on the north side, on the northwest of the site. The ambulance has its own access. There is a separate entrance for the ambulance. It comes, it enters through this access. It goes directly to the clinic parking, and it leaves through a separate exit. There are two kinds of residential units. There is a two-story house and a one-story house, a single-story house. Both of these houses have their major views towards the water. Each house has their own vegetation garden. It has their own area for where they can grow their own plants and vegetables, and they have bicycle and pedestrian lanes accessing to the main access to the house. These are kinds of nodes that are present throughout the site. A walkable community designed in a way that it is comfortable for people to move around and have enough shaded areas. For example, these kind of um, nodes that allow a lot of pathways to meet at one point, and they act as a communal center or places where people can gather and have interactions. The library is designed on top of the cafe in a way that encourages people to leave their houses and socialize. This is the library that is designed in a way that it allows light to enter, north light to enter, and there are different colors of glass that are cladded on the library, which allows different kind of colors of lights that to enter and create an ambience in the library itself. And this is the cafe that is located under the library. Then there are this is the view in one of the hospital rooms or the clinic rooms. They have abundant daylight throughout the day through window slits and skylights to lower the energy usage, and they view outside to the rainwater pools. The rainwater pools also cool the surrounding wind conditions. So there is different kinds of light and design that um, also acts as a part of the design of the clinic. These are some ecological sections that are a part of the whole design. So the first one is showing the Bosphorus River and the residential units. This is the one-story house and this is the double-story house. There are cool winds or the sea breeze coming from the river, and they allow the residential units to stay cool during the summers. The heights of houses vary to avoid obstruction of views towards the Bosphorus. So the people that are on the second story of this house have easy views towards they can enjoy the view towards the river just as much as the people using the single story houses. Um, this is a section showing the rainwater collection and rainwater usage. There is a rainwater tank on the top of the house, and there are rainwater pools all around, located all around the site. So the rainwater pools are connected to the water systems through underground pipes. These underground pipes are connected to the wash basins of these houses. The rainwater is pumped directly into these wash basins, and they are located underground. So through geothermal heating, or these rainwater pipes are heated through geothermal heating, and they can be used for different purposes within the house. The rainwater collection tank on the top of the house is used is pumped down to the flush tank of the toilets, and or it can also be used for showering. And this is an ecological section for temperature conditions. So, in this false ceiling for this house, there are vent systems that allow cool air to enter through the false ceiling and then circulate throughout the house. There are plant screens to block cold breeze from entering indoors during the winters, and these kind of plants will lose their leaves during the summers, and during the winters they will form a plant screen. There are vegetation or trees that are planted with properties that are cooling that the wind conditions in this area. There's temperature regulation through vegetation. Then there is another water cycling system. The water that is used for showering, that is used after showering, that can be reused in the flush tank for the toilets on the lower floors. And then water from the wash basins is reused and stored in a tank which is used for laundry later. So these pipes show the connection of how the water is used as used in a closed loop throughout the house. There are also the slope roofs that allow the rainwater to run down into a pipe and then collected in an underground water tank, which is then also pumped to the wash basins in the house. And then that water is again collected in a tank and reused elsewhere. The properties of the summer sun and the winter sun are also kept in mind. Shades are designed over or over windows to avoid overheating in summers and lower energy used to cool the indoors. So there are sort of cantilevers or shades designed in a way that the sun does not reach indoors through the windows during the summers. And trees are planted to provide shade for the pedestrians and cycles to move comfortably. Sun angle for winters allows sun rays to enter the windows directly because the angle is lower, and it allows um, the radiant heat also to allow to enter in the winters through the windows. Deciduous trees lose their leaves in the winters to allow heat from the sun to enter the house and also reach the people walking under those trees. There are communal gardens with different trees and scents that are planted in a way that people can sit under them and have communal areas and community meetings. Pathways with deciduous trees are designed, and then there are comfortable thermal conditions under those shades, under those trees. As a conclusion to my whole design process and the whole project, my objective of choosing this topic of study is to address the growing concern around the housing problem of communities that is not paying attention to the environmental impacts it has based on the everyday careless use of resources. Although we cannot create a complete utopia for people where there is zero waste and everything is working in favor of the planet, ecological settlements are aimed to become communities in which people live completely aware of their surroundings, with amenities such as food, shelter, education, and health. Attention is required for how the communities are to be established in the future in a way that it takes forward a conscious ability to leave enough behind for the generations to come. May that be use of power, water, electricity generation. It is critical that the structures have long-term sustainability qualities that lessen the environmental impacts during their full life cycle. Now the question is how to contribute to this idea. There are several ways that it can be approached, and one approach is to build ecological settlements. My concept of the whole design was to provide to the best of available opportunities an eco-settlement that is sensitive to the environment. It has reduced energy usage, it has water recycling systems, reduction of vehicular fumes within its settings, established lost ecology in the immediate context through diverse green spaces, To provide healthy environments that encourage movements like taking walks. For that, it is important that the pathways are shaded enough in summers and allow sun to penetrate through the trees in the winters. To provide outdoor gyms and therapeutic gardens, and also rainwater collection systems. Thank you.